Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Rocket and Groot 2-pack. Now they make a Rocket figure, and they make a Groot figure, but they also make this 2-pack, which includes an alternate Groot head, some alternate Groot hands, and like a little tiny Groot. And this is the Sideshow exclusive version, which comes with an additional little tiny Groot. Here's a quick look at the packaging, which I gotta say I like. I like the use of blue, and I think the artwork of Rocket and Groot on the front is pretty striking. And now we'll just take a look at the interior package under the sleeve. Well, the first thing I'm happy about is that Rocket, with his little tiny feet, can stand on his own, so that's awesome. Now let's go in for a closer look at his costume, because there is some pretty cool little detailing going on here. Obviously the fabric looks good, the orange looks good, and I like the fact they've kind of dirtied up the fabric here with some little schmutz stains. I like the little knee pad area. But where it gets interesting is like the little brown padded areas that are made of some sort of like plastic material, but you can see there's some sort of like weathering done on it. So it's not just like a solid brown. You can see like on the shoulder pads and whatnot. The little gack in the front looks good. The little tiny like rivets on the little side sections here look good too. And the back looks pretty awesome, I think, as far as like the surface, and the kind of the metallic look, and then the little bolts and all that. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the costume. And then you get to his head, and I think they did a great job with his head. Like, I think the expression looks cool. I like the bared teeth, and I think his eyes, I mean, it's just black, but like there's a good wetness to them. But I like the expression. I like the aggressive look we got here. The detail paint on his gums and his teeth and the black line of his lips look good. I really like the white paint on his fur. And the actual shape of his head is well sculpted, and the fur is well sculpted too. To me, it's hard to sculpt lines like that and make it look good and not look, you know, super crappy. But I think that the actual lines here look really strong. And his ears look cute. I think the way they handled his whiskers is good as well. Also, like, you know, the paint and sculpt on his arms is pretty strong, as well as his feet. And the tail looks good. Now we can talk about articulation, because the tail actually has some pretty good articulation. It can like swing around 360 degrees, and it can also pivot like up and down. It's a ball joint. It's a single hinge at the elbow, ball joint at the shoulder, and it does have the like the multiple joint in the shoulder, which allows it to come forward and back and up and down, that sort of thing. There is a mid-torso cut and a cut at the waist before you get to the ball joints, but this solid piece in the back does limit just how much he can pivot from that mid-torso cut. But there is a little neck joint here at the base of the neck, and then the ball joint at the head. Wrists are strong, good articulation at the knees, and then his feet have a good little ankle swivel to them. 6 scale figures tend to be about 12 inches tall for human figures. Rocket was 6.5 inches tall, and this big bad mamma jamma is 15.5 inches tall, and it is an awesome looking figure. So let's go in for a close-up look, because the detail on this guy is just awesome. Like, just the woodwork alone, and this figure is all just sculpted woodwork. There is no fabric to worry about. The sculpting is really strong, like on his whole body. I mean, it's not like he's wearing any clothes, so it is his whole body. And I just think, I mean, whoever this team is, people who sculpt this, and you know, their names are on the back of the packaging, they do really, really strong work, I think. I mean, first of all, it's not just the wood, but the little green vines going around, and the actual painting of the green elements, to me, is really, really good. Also, just be on the lookout, there's these little like branches kind of sticking off like on the sides of his body. You just want to be careful that you don't like grab him the wrong way and pop some of them off. But yeah, let's take a look at his back, because even his back is like really, really strong. Like you see the way like the wood kind of roots around the middle of it. Like you really get a good sense of like the I don't want to say the geometry, but like almost the wooden biology of him as a you know, a plant person. And then like the little wood plates here that cover his wood butt cheeks. More vines going around the back. And just like the little knots in the wood. Really, really cool, I think. Jeez, and the vine work again is really cool, and I like the way his feet, sort of plant out at the bottom. They root out like a tree stump, if you will. Now, another thing that's cool about this figure, aside from just like the overall detail of him, is his hands. At least the main hands that he comes with have little bendy wires in them, which is a cool little added detail. The other hands don't. But if you wanted Groot to, flip someone off, you can make him do that. Articulation on this figure is pretty strong. It's got a good range of motion at the shoulders, and it does have those little clicking joints at the shoulders and at the waist. He's got a good mid-torso cut, which allows him to kind of lean forward and, look at people that are shorter than him. He's got the single elbow joint, and his hands have a good kind of hinged ball joint. Also, his waist has good leg motion, but one of the things I like about his waist is these little kind of crotch plates here move, and they've got a little hinge to them. Let's see if I can get a closer look, and you can see that hinge right there. I like that hinge because it allows these plates to move when you move his legs forward and back. Well, not back, but when they move forward, they're not obtrusive or in the way. He's got a knee joint, and I like that the kind of front sculpt covers the knee joint. And his feet, I thought they would just swivel, but there is like an ankle hinge to them. So I do like that hinge. Also, he's got a good range of motion at the head. Let's see if we can go in for a closer look here. Because he's got this neck joint at the base, and then his head also moves as well. So you can get him to look down pretty well, so I think that looks awesome. Speaking of looking awesome, I think his head looks awesome. Like, I think the sculpt on this is just fantastic. He's such a great character as far as like his simple mood, and like this is a really good kind of like still, calm Groot expression. I think it's really expressive. Like the work they did on his eyes. Let's go in for a closer look here. The work they did on the eyes is so strong to me. Like there's a wetness there that all Hot Toys have that are good, but like the woodwork going around it, his mouth, the little wrinkle lines on his mouth, and then like all the detail on the woodwork, including the paint of the green at the top. But like I just think that's so expressive. It's so cool. Here's a look at him in profile and at the back, and you can just see like how well done even the woodwork on the back of his head is, and also on the top of his head. This is what I call like the Bart Simpson area. And I think the green paint and the little details of all the little roots sticking out at the top looks really, really good. Now, one other thing I want to show you guys is his alternate head. Like, we'll get to all the accessories in a moment, but I do want to show you guys, before we get to the accessories, this awesome alternate head that the figure comes with. Because just look at that expression. I think the sculpt on this is just fantastic. Like, look how angry and expressive it is. Just like the way his eyes are kind of squinched together, the furrowed brow, the way the brow kind of meets in between his eyes. Also his mouth is so awesome looking and angry, and even just the way his cheeks kind of, the wood ripples on the side. I think the attitude is great on this, and the detail within it is just awesome. His teeth, his tongue, everything about this just turned out freaking great. Now let's look at the rest of the accessories. The Rocket figure has relaxed palm hands, but he comes with these alternate fist hands, and I like the fact that they painted the little black nails on them, kind of like digging into the palms there. He also comes with these like little grip hands. These grip hands are intended for holding his gun. In fact, you can see that the right hand has a little trigger finger there, and I think just a little painting of the fur on top of the hands looks good. He also comes with an alternate pair of feet that you can plug into the ankle joints with his feet raised up, so he's just standing like on the ball of his feet. I think this is a nice touch. I don't like that lack of support. I think with a figure stand it'll be fine, but personally I'm probably not going to be using these. But the sculpt on them is pretty strong. Now the Groot figure comes with an alternate hand with the little, it's like translucent and yellow, and it's the implied glowing effect when he releases the little like glowing little flower things. And it's nice looking, I dig it. But what I really dig is the exclusive for the 2-pack set, these angry hands that kind of go with his angry face. So when he's like, really like raging, I think these hands are awesome. I think the pose they're in is really dynamic. I really think these are sculpted very, very well. Now, Rocket also comes with this gun, and geez, I think the detail on this gun is just fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. Like, the sculpt of it's great, but like the metal paint and like the kind of the browning of it, so it kind of reads like, copper almost. The dirt of it, the little details and then the sculpt, all the little gack towards the front. Geez, I think this has turned out great. I'm really, really impressed by this gun. Lastly, he comes with a Dancing Groot. This is the one that comes with the 2-pack, and I think the sculpt on it's just great. It's really tiny. It's to scale with Rocket for Rocket to hold. And And you can see just next to my hand how freaking tiny this thing is. And I think just the little sculpt on his face is really, really good. I think they did a great job with this. Now, the Sideshow exclusive version is this one, where it's just, you know, when Rocket's holding him in his hand, he's not, you know, dancing yet. But, you know, pre-dance, if you will. But he looks really, really good. He's a little mopey, he's a little sad, which makes him extra cute. But I think the sculpt on this is really, really good. And I like the little kind of potted oatmeal dirt that's in there. I think this looks really good. Rocket and Groot each come with a figure stand, and one of the things I like about this figure stand is the base for the arm is already attached. With Star-Lord and Gamora, you had to plug in the arm, and sometimes that would cause the artwork to kind of crack a bit. But with this, you just sort of plug the arms in, and then you just attach the C-clamps, and you're good to go. Now there's a C-clamp for Groot, and there's a little tiny C-clamp for Rocket, but what's really cool is this additional piece. And this additional piece allows you to pose Rocket above Groot's shoulder. Because he can't just stand there on his own, but you unscrew these little pieces here and then plug this to the top of Groot, or Groot's arm, and then you plug in Rocket's arm, and you can, you know, attach the C-clamp to that, and that's how you pose him with a clamp on Groot's shoulder. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Groot comes with some extra wrist pegs, and Rocket comes with a few little extra buttons for the top of his collar. Now, here's a look at Rocket on the figure stand, holding little Groot. And I gotta say, he looks pretty darn good. Here's Rocket riding Groot's back using the additional clamp. Now, if you have this at home, I recommend you pose him a little better than I did, doing something more with his leg, but you do get the general idea of how they look next to each other, and I gotta say, it looks pretty cool. All in all, I really like the Rocket and Groot Hot Toys figures. I think they both have like good sculpted detail to them, and I think they both have pretty strong articulation. In particular, I think the Groot has got really good articulation as far as like hitting him into some really good action poses, or just some dramatic poses like his neck and head turning works really, really well. Also, I think the 2-pack itself is a really, really kind of cool touch because I like the alternate head, I like the alternate hands, and I really like the extra little Groot. I think the little Groot is a really awesome, awesome little accessory. I think he's super cute, but I think these two guys together as a 2-pack are really awesome. Thanks for watching.